Marcia Brady left nothing to the imagination. Try not to gasp. Underneath the sunniest smile in television history was a teen star battling a tidal wave of pressure, cast at just 13 and expected to be America's perfect daughter while millions watched. But behind the scenes of the Brady Bunch, Maureen McCormick was testing every boundary, igniting studio outrage with rebellious stunts, tangled in forbidden romance, and clashing with her on-screen family in ways the cameras never caught. How did the girl everyone adored become the face of a rebellion that threatened to crack her own image wide open? This is the story you were never meant to see. The Brady Bunch exploded onto television in 1969 with its now iconic 3x3 grid and the sound of cheerful harmonies. Marcia Brady, with her golden hair and dazzling smile, quickly became the face of American girlhood, inspiring catchphrases and endless imitation. It wasn't just the weekly episodes that made Marcia a household name. Syndication sent reruns into living rooms across the country, turning the show from a modest primetime performer into a cultural juggernaut. Suddenly, every line, especially Marcia, 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 echoed in playgrounds and parodies alike. The pressure on Marcia's image grew with each new fan letter and magazine cover as the world latched onto her every move. But while the Brady Bunch projected a flawless vision of family and youth, the reality behind those bright studio lights would prove far more complicated. Maureen McCormick was just 13 when she stepped into the role of Marcia Brady, cast not for mischief, but for her ability to radiate innocence. Producers wanted more than a performance. They expected her to embody Marcia's perfect charm every moment, on and off the set. The rules were clear. No scandals, no slip-ups, no behavior that might tarnish the Brady name. Magazine interviews, public appearances, even her wardrobe away from the studio were policed for wholesomeness. At an age when most teenagers were learning who they wanted to be, Maureen was handed a script for life, not just for television. The pressure to match Marcia's spotless reputation followed her home, where fan letters and studio notes reminded her to smile brighter and never let the mask slip. Each day, the line between actress and character blurred, leaving a teenager carrying the weight of America's expectations before she could even drive a car. Long before tabloid headlines, Maureen McCormick made her first move against the Brady machine right on set. In the middle of the show's third season, she and Eve Plum decided to ditch their bras under those prim blouses, filming several episodes braless as a quiet jab at the studio's rules. The wardrobe department didn't catch on for weeks. It took director Lloyd Schwartz reviewing dailies to finally spot their rebellion, pulling both girls aside for a stern lecture and a warning that the studio wouldn't tolerate any more surprises. For Maureen, it was more than a prank. It was a protest against a script that wouldn't let her or her character grow up. She even pitched storylines where Marcia could sneak a boy into her room or Jan could stay out all night, but every suggestion was shot down. The writers wanted innocence, but Maureen was ready for something real. Eve, usually the rule follower, went along for the ride, maybe out of boredom, maybe out of solidarity. Either way, the braless stunt made it clear. Maureen wasn't content to play by the rules, and the cracks in the show's perfect image were starting to show. The chemistry between Maureen McCormick and Barry Williams was impossible for the rest of the cast to ignore. During the filming of the Hawaiian episodes, the two slipped away from the group for a walk on the beach, ending with a kiss that neither would forget. That first real taste of romance blurred the lines between their on-screen sibling roles and the feelings growing off camera. Williams later admitted he found it hard to watch Maureen film love scenes with other actors, sometimes lurking just out of frame, unable to hide his jealousy. The writers, always hunting for new storylines, picked up on the tension and began scripting more scenes that played up the rivalry between Marcia and Jan, a rivalry that had already started to spill over into real life. Eve Plum, who played Jan, became increasingly distant as Maureen and Barry's bond deepened. What began as playful competition for screen time grew into open hostility, with arguments breaking out between takes and the two sisters barely speaking by the end of the day. The set, once a safe haven from family troubles, became a minefield of tangled emotions, secret crushes, and bruised egos. Underneath the Brady smiles, the cast was learning just how complicated family, real or pretend, could get. Maureen McCormick's childhood was shadowed by secrets that never made it into the Brady living room. Her grandmother died in a mental institution after years of battling syphilis, a family curse that began when Maureen's grandfather returned from World War I, already infected. The disease passed to Maureen's mother before birth, launching a lifetime of shame and isolation. Irene McCormick grew up eating off separate dishes, enduring harsh mercury treatments and long, lonely bus rides to the hospital. At home, violence and addiction took root. Maureen's father was quick to anger, and her older brother Kevin fell into heroin use while she was still a teenager. The weight of these hidden scars pressed on Maureen, shaping the choices she would make long after the studio lights faded. By the age of 20, Maureen was lost to a world of cocaine and crash diets, her days and nights bleeding together in Hollywood's infamous dens. Sex for drugs deals became routine, and a 3-day binge left her rambling through a disastrous Spielberg audition. The spiral was complete. She had traded Marcia's smile for survival. By age 13, Maureen McCormick was cast as Marcia Brady, a role that quickly became a pop culture icon during the Brady Bunch's original run from 1969 to 1974. Behind the scenes, documented acts of rebellion, like her braless protest and push for mature storylines, challenged the tightly controlled image that producers demanded. Studio memos and cast interviews confirm on-set tensions, from reprimands by director Lloyd Schwartz to a long-standing feud with Eve Plum and a secret romance with Barry Williams. Official records, including McCormick's own memoir, detail how these pressures contributed to her struggles with addiction by age 20 and a failed Spielberg audition in 1975. Yet questions remain about how much the studio truly knew or intervened at the time. Today, Maureen's story stands as a documented example of the hidden costs young stars can pay for public adoration. The evidence is clear. Behind every perfect television family, there are real people facing very real pressures.